My name is Emily, and I'm a single mom living in Baltimore with my two daughters, Sarah and Lily. Some days, it feels like I'm constantly running on empty, juggling work, bills, and caring for the girls all on my own. But no matter how tough things get, I know I have to stay strong for them. This afternoon, I decided to take the kids to the park to get some fresh air and let them burn off some energy. As I watched them laughing and playing on the swings, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt. I wish I could give them more stability, more adventures, more of the carefree childhood I never really had. But with my modest income as a secretary and the ever-mounting expenses of raising two little ones, it's all I can do to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table. Lost in these worries, I didn't notice the young man sitting alone on a nearby bench until he let out a heavy sigh. Glancing over, I saw him hunched forward, head in his hands. Something about his defeated posture tugged at my heart, and before I could stop myself, I found myself walking over to him. "Hey, are you all right?" I asked, keeping my voice soft and gentle. He looked up, eyes red-rimmed, and for a moment, I saw a flicker of shame flash across his face. Yeah, I'm fine," he stammered. I introduced myself and learned his name was Alex. As we talked, I discovered that he had recently lost his job and his apartment and was struggling to get back on his feet. Hearing the desperation in his voice, I couldn't help but empathize. I know all too well what it's like to feel like the weight of the world is crashing down on you, with no clear path forward. Before I knew it, we were pouring our hearts out to each other. Me about the constant financial stress and the challenges of raising my girls alone, and him about the gambling addiction that had derailed his life. There was something about Alex's openness and vulnerability that made me want to help him, to be the support system he so clearly needed. As the sun began to set, I reluctantly told Alex that I needed to get the kids home for dinner. But before I left, I found myself saying, "You know, if you ever need someone to talk to, or just a friendly face, you're more than welcome to come to the park. I'm usually here around this time." The grateful smile he gave me in return told me that I'd made the right decision. Little did I know that this chance encounter in the park would be the start of a journey that would forever change the course of both our lives. Over the next few weeks, I found myself looking forward to my daily trips to the park with the girls, not just because it gave them a chance to run around and burn off energy, but because I knew there was a good chance I'd run into Alex again. True to my word, Alex started showing up regularly, and we would spend hours talking, sharing our stories and dreams. I was surprised by how easily I opened up to him, a complete stranger, about the challenges of being a single parent and the constant financial strain I was under. But there was something about his open, non-judgmental demeanor that put me at ease. "It's just so hard, you know?" I confided to him one afternoon as we watched Sarah and Lily play on the swings. "Some days, I feel like I'm barely keeping my head above water. Between rent, bills, groceries, there's never enough to go around." Alex nodded empathetically. "I can only imagine. Raising kids on your own must be exhausting." "It is," I sighed, "but I wouldn't trade it for anything. Those two are my whole world." He smiled warmly. "You're an amazing mom, Emily. Your girls are lucky to have you." Hearing those words of encouragement from someone who truly understood what I was going through meant more to me than he could ever know. In that moment, I felt a little less alone in my struggles. As the weeks turned into months, Alex's presence in our lives became a welcome constant. He would bring small treats for the girls, or help me carry their backpacks when we were heading home from the park. I marveled at how quickly he had become an integral part of our little family. But one day, as we were chatting, Alex's demeanor suddenly shifted. He fidgeted nervously, avoiding my gaze. "Alex, what's wrong?" I asked, a knot of worry forming in the pit of my stomach. He let out a shaky breath. "Emily, I've started gambling again." My heart sank. I had known about his addiction and had secretly hoped that he was on the road to recovery. "Oh, Alex," I breathed, reaching out to squeeze his hand. "I lost my temporary housing because I couldn't make the rent payments," he confessed, his voice laced with shame. "I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to drag you into this mess." In that moment, I was torn between concern for Alex's well-being and the need to protect my own family. But as I looked into his desperate, pleading eyes, I knew I couldn't turn my back on him. He needed help, and I was determined to be there for him, no matter the cost. "Alex, listen to me. You're not in this alone, okay? We're going to figure this out together." I paused, taking a deep breath. "I want you to stay with us for a while, at least until you can get back on your feet." The look of relief and gratitude that spread across his face nearly broke my heart. "Emily, I don't know what to say. Thank you, truly." As we made our way home, the girls chattering excitedly about their new friend coming to stay with us, I couldn't help but wonder what challenges lay ahead. But in that moment, all that mattered was that I had the chance to help someone in need, and maybe, just maybe, find the strength to overcome my own struggles too. With Alex now staying with us, our little apartment felt a bit more crowded, but the girls were thrilled to have a new playmate around. It warmed my heart to see them bonding with him, their laughter echoing through the halls as they chased each other around. "All right, you two, time to calm down and help me set the table for dinner," I called out, smiling as they came running. "Can Alex help too?" Lily asked, her eyes shining with excitement. "Of course he can," I replied, glancing over at Alex, who was watching the scene with a wistful expression. "I'd be happy to help," he said, giving the girls a gentle smile. As we worked together, I couldn't help but feel a growing sense of pride and contentment. It was as if Alex had always been a part of our little family. But my peace of mind was shattered a few days later when there was a firm knock at the door. My heart sank as I opened it to find my father, Robert, standing on the other side, his face twisted in a disapproving scowl. "Dad," I greeted him, trying to keep my voice calm and even. "What are you doing here? I heard you've taken in some stray," he spat, glaring past me at Alex, who had come up behind me, his posture suddenly tense. "His name is Alex, and he's going through a difficult time," I explained, already bracing myself for the argument I knew was coming. "Difficult time?" Robert scoffed. "Emily, you have 2 young daughters to think about. You can't be bringing unstable people into our home." "Dad, please," I pleaded. "Alex is trying to get his life back on track, and I want to help him. He's been a good influence on the girls." "Good influence?" Robert's voice rose, his face flushing with anger. "Don't be so naive, Emily. He's a gambling addict. What kind of example is that setting for my granddaughters?" At that, Alex stepped forward, his expression resolute. "Mr. Reynolds, I understand your concern, but I can assure you that I'm committed to my recovery. I've been attending meetings and—" "Save it," Robert interrupted, raising a hand. "I don't want to hear your excuses. As long as you're under my daughter's roof, you're a threat to my family." The air crackled with tension as the 2 men stared each other down. I felt utterly powerless, caught in the middle of this escalating conflict. "Dad, please," I tried again. "Just give Alex a chance. He's been through so much, and he needs our—" "Enough, Emily," Robert cut me off, his voice ice cold. "You're either with me on this, or you're against me, and I won't have that man anywhere near my grandchildren." With that, he turned and stormed off, leaving me shaking with a mix of anger, frustration, and guilt. I knew this wasn't the end of it. My father could be relentless when he set his mind to something. Closing the door, I leaned back against it, my eyes meeting Alex's. "I'm so sorry," I whispered, my voice thick with emotion. "I don't know what we're going to do." The look of understanding and empathy on his face made my heart ache. "It's not your fault, Emily," he said softly. "I'll leave if that's what it takes to keep your family together." In that moment, I knew I couldn't let that happen. Alex had become an integral part of our lives, and I wasn't about to abandon him, no matter the cost. But with my father's unyielding opposition, I couldn't help but worry that the road ahead would be an uphill battle. The tension in our apartment was palpable in the days following my father's confrontation with Alex. The girls could sense the discomfort, and I could see the worry in their eyes whenever they glanced between Alex and me. One evening, as I was tucking Lily into bed, she looked up at me with a small frown. "Mommy, is Alex going to have to leave?" My heart sank. "No, honey, of course not," I reassured her, smoothing a hand over her hair. "Alex is staying with us, just like before." "But Grandpa didn't want him here," she pressed, her brow furrowed. I let out a heavy sigh. "I know, sweetie. Grandpa and I just have a difference of opinion on this. But I'm going to do everything I can to make sure Alex stays with us, okay?" Lily nodded, seemingly satisfied with my answer, and I placed a gentle kiss on her forehead before turning out the light and slipping out of the room. In the living room, I found Alex sitting on the couch, staring down at his hands. "Hey," I said softly, taking a seat beside him. He looked up, offering me a small, weary smile. "Hey, Alex, I want you to know that I'm not going to let my father force you out of here," I said, placing a hand on his arm. "You're an important part of this family now, and I'm not about to abandon you." "Emily, I appreciate that, I really do," he replied, his voice tinged with guilt. "But I don't want to cause any more problems between you and your dad. Maybe it would be best if I—" "No," I interrupted firmly. "I won't hear of it. You're staying, and that's final." Alex studied my face for a moment, then slowly nodded. "Okay, if you're sure." "I am," I assured him. "Look, I know this isn't going to be easy, but we'll figure it out together. I want you to focus on your recovery and let me worry about my dad." "Emily, He paused, his eyes shining with emotion. "Thank you. I don't know what I'd do without you and the girls." I gave his arm a gentle squeeze. "You're welcome. And remember, you're not alone in this, okay?" Alex nodded, a look of determination settling over his features. "Okay, I'm ready to do this, to really commit to my sobriety. For you, and for the girls. That's all I can ask for," I replied, feeling a sense of hope begin to take root. "We're in this together, no matter what." As we sat there in comfortable silence, I couldn't help but feel a swell of pride for the man beside me. He had been through so much, yet he was still fighting to turn his life around. And I knew, without a doubt, that I would do whatever it took to help him succeed. The road ahead would undoubtedly be challenging, with my father's disapproval looming over us. But in that moment, I was certain that as long as Alex had the support of our little family, he could overcome anything, and I was determined to prove it to him, and to myself. The months that followed were not without their challenges, but with Alex's steadfast commitment to his recovery and the unwavering support of our little family, we managed to weather the storm. My father remained stubbornly opposed to Alex's presence in our lives, despite my best efforts to reason with him. There were countless tense phone calls and heated arguments, each one leaving me feeling drained and defeated, but I refused to back down. Alex had become an integral part of our family, and I'd be damned if I was going to let my father bully him out of our lives. One afternoon, as I was preparing dinner, the girls came running into the kitchen, faces flushed with excitement. "Mommy, Mommy, guess what?" Lily exclaimed. I chuckled, turning to face them. "What is it, sweetie?" "Alex got a job," Sarah chimed in, beaming. My heart swelled with pride as I looked over to see Alex standing in the doorway, a tentative smile on his face. "That's amazing, Alex," I exclaimed, crossing the room to pull him into a warm hug. "I'm so proud of you." "Thanks, Emily," he replied, his voice thick with emotion. "It's just a part-time gig at the local hardware store, but it's a start. And it feels good, you know, to be working again and contributing." I squeezed his arm reassuringly. "That's wonderful. This is a big step in the right direction." As the girls danced around, chattering excitedly about Alex's new job, I couldn't help but feel a profound sense of gratitude. Against all odds, we had weathered the storm, and our little family was stronger for it. Of course, my father's disapproval remained a constant thorn in our side, but with Alex's newfound stability and my unwavering support, I knew we could face whatever challenges came our way. One evening, as we sat together on the couch, the girls cuddled up between us, I turned to Alex and said, "You know, you've become such an important part of our lives. I don't know what I'd do without you." Alex reached over and gave my hand a gentle squeeze. "And I don't know where I'd be without you and the girls. You've all given me a sense of purpose and belonging that I haven't felt in a very long time." I smiled, feeling a familiar warmth spread through my chest. "Well, you're stuck with us now," I teased, bumping his shoulder playfully. As we sat there, basking in the comfortable silence, I couldn't help but reflect on how far we'd come. The road had been long and arduous, but we had emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. And you know, maybe, just maybe, my father would come around someday. But if he didn't, it wouldn't matter, because we had each other, and that was all that truly mattered. So, what do you think? Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation, struggling to balance the needs of your family with the challenges of helping a friend or loved one in need? How did you navigate those tricky waters, and what lessons did you learn along the way? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. After all, we're all in this together, aren't we? Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel, give us a like, share our story. I'll see you soon with another captivating story.